In this video, I'm going to cover additional topics related to dictionaries. Specifically, I'm going to over some of the useful methods that will help us get more useful features out of dictionaries. The first one I'm going to talk about is going to be the get method. The get method basically includes which returns the value of the item, but it's slightly different from receiving a value using the method that we discussed. So we said there are two ways to get values out of dictionaries. One of them is just calling the key. For instance, we can just print DT sales May and we will receive the value 200. That's one way to do it. The second way to do it is using the get method, and the get method is advantageous because when we are using get, it will return the value that we are looking for. But if the value does not exist in our dictionary, it will return a default value. Okay, so let's see how this could work. Let's say we have a list, it's called DT, it's a bunch of values that are associated with keys, and now I am printing, let's say I'm calling value 7 that we know does not exist in this, and we will receive the traceback error. So let's see how it would change if we are using DT get. So DT dot get, and it receives two values. First is the key we're looking for. The second is the default value, which is going to be returned when the key is not found. I'm just going to say, let's say not found, or you could say 0 even. So here, if I am running DT with 7, instead of getting the traceback error, I'm going to receive the default value that I was looking for. If I am running 2 with get, I'm going to receive 2. And again, this default value, we set it. We usually set this default value to 0. So if I'm running this, it will be 2. If I am running 7, I will receive 0. So it will help us skip some of those errors that we would receive. All right, next we are going to talk about using some of the operators. So in a way that operators are useful, we're working with any kind of object in Python. We can use the same operators like plus, minus, or plus equal in order to change values in dictionary, obviously if it's possible. Let's say if we have integer values for sales, I can say now DT sales January plus equal 20, and I can print DT sales again. So now when we call this, we see that now some of those values have changed. Now we can multiply. Obviously we can use any other methods as well. So in here I'm running a bunch of other operations. So let's say we are reducing April by 50 and multiplying February value by 2. So basically the output of this is going to be 90 and it's going to be multiplied by 2. So we have new value for February now as 180. Another useful method that's not only relevant to dictionary, but also it can be useful when we're working with list and tuple is an example of isinstance. So isinstance is a function that returns true if the specified value is of a specific type. So it will check the type, and if it is in the type that we are looking for, it will return true. Otherwise, it will return false. So let's see how that would be useful in the context of dictionaries. So let's say I want to check to see if DT is an instance of a dictionary. So if I can say DICT, and if I'm running this, the output should be true. If I was checking, let's say, if DT is a tuple, I will receive false. At the same time, you can use multiple values. So I could have said it could be a dictionary or a tuple, and the output of that is going to be true. Missing a parenthesis here. So we see that now if I'm checking against multiple values, it would have been true. Let's run another example. I could say is instance, and I can say DT dot DT of 1 is an instance of a string. And again, the output of that is going to be true, because the values that are stored as for key number 1 is a string. Next, we are going to learn about the pop function. So pop basically returns the value of the key that is in the argument, and we can store it. Let's say we can assign it to a new variable. Let me just go to the example again. So we have DT. I can say v is equal to DT pop and give me 2, and I can say print v. So I'm expecting this to pop the value that is Sarah and store it in the variable called v. I could have also said, let's say DT and v and separate it by, let's say, a line. So if I'm running this, now I see that my new DT list does not include the pair of 2 and Sarah, and the value of Sarah is now assigned to variable v. Similar to pop, but it's slightly different, we have another method called pop item. Pop item basically removes the last inserted key value pair. So let's run it on DT again. I can say so if I'm doing pop item, it will capture the last value. And if I was printing DT, we see that the last value is now removed and it's been assigned. Again, the value of the last key is assigned to variable v. We can also clear all the values in our list using the clear function. So if I'm saying dot clear, it will basically remove all the elements from the dictionary. So let's see how that would work. So I have DT and I can say DT dot clear, and if I now call DT again, I will see that our dictionary is now empty. We can also remove or delete items from a dictionary using a del method. So how does that work? We can just literally call a delete function, and here I can say delete DT, and let's call one of the keys. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, this list is already clear, so I'm just gonna bring it back here, and I'm saying delete 2, and let's call dt again. So if we look at the results, the pair that's related to the key 2, so value of 2 and Sarah, is deleted from the list. So delete can also be useful when we are dealing with removing values from a dictionary.